Hello friends, welcome back to my channel MU Exam. So in this video I will tell you about the AE decaf which we have just completed after 16,000 running hours. So this will basically contain cylinder head decaf, then piston overhaul, then big end bearing overhaul and liner calibration. So covering these topics in one video is not possible, so I have covered each topic in different videos, and in this video I'll just cover the cylinder head. So let's begin with this video. So as I told you, this head this decaf involves cylinder head decaf, piston and piston ring overhaul, cylinder liner calibration, and then bottom end bearing. So before we begin or plan for decaf, we need to check if we have sufficient spares. We need to check the condition of hydraulic tools. Then after that we need to change your engine on diesel oil. Then we block the engine from MSB, then shut the start air, engage turning gear, shut the fuel valve inlet and outlet, stop the lube oil priming pump, open indicator cock, then shut the cooling freshwater inlet and outlet valve, shut the expansion valve and drain the cooling water. So these are the prerequisites for the decaf. So for my engine, these are the opening and tightening pressure for the hydraulic nuts for the cylinder head bolts, piston rod palm bolts and big end bolts. So these pressures, they will be different for your engine. So for that purpose you can check your manual. So the cylinder unit basically comprises of cylinder head, valve and rocker arm, then cylinder liner and water jacket, piston and connecting rod, valve train and fuel injection equipment. So these are the components which are covered under cylinder unit. So now let's start with the decaf procedure. So in this video I'll just cover the cylinder head. So for taking out cylinder head, we need to disconnect all the connections from the individual unit cylinder head. So first we will disconnect the cooling water pipe by moving axially in the direction as shown in the diagram. Okay, but before moving these connections we need to remove this bolt on both sides. Then we have to unscrew these 4 bolts. These 4 bolts are for the exhaust. So these four bolts we have to connect. So disconnect or unscrew to disconnect the exhaust manifold from the cylinder head. Then we have to remove all the small pipes and the wiring for the sensor, exhaust sensor. So then once we have removed these connections, water connection and the exhaust connection, we need to take out the rocker arm assembly. So for that we need to loosen these 2 nuts. This is the top view of the cylinder head. So after we have removed these nuts, we can take out the rocker arm assembly. After that we can take out the yoke and the push rod. This is the push rod and this is the yoke. So once we have loosened these two bolts, these two nuts, then we can take out the whole rocker arm assembly, push rods and the yoke. Once rocker arm and yoke, push rods are out, then we go on to fuel pump connection. So for taking out injector, before taking out injector, we have to remove this high pressure block of the fuel pump. As we can see in this diagram, if we don't take out this fuel injection pipe, then as you can see in the figure, it is mating with the injector, and if we try to take out this injector before removing this injection pipe, then it will damage the injection pipe. So for that, before taking out injector, we have to remove this high pressure block, and for that we have to open these two nuts and these two socket screws. So once this high pressure block is out, we can easily remove the fuel injection pipe. Once fuel injection pipe is out, then we can take out the injector, and for that we have to unscrew this nut, and then we can take out this support, and by putting this tool provided by the manufacturer, we can jack this fuel injector very easily from the cylinder head. Once all the connections are disconnected and fuel injector is out, we can remove these hydraulic nuts, 4 hydraulic nuts, which are holding this cylinder head onto the engine, and for that we have to follow the loosening procedure, which I won't be discussing in this video. So we have to apply this loosening pressure of 1120, and maximum we can go up to 1155 bar. After these 4 nuts are removed, then we can install the lifting tool, as you can see in this figure, and lift the cylinder head. But just before lifting, recheck if you have removed all the connections from the cylinder head. Once you have lifted the cylinder head, then check for these two connecting pieces. This is for cooling water and this is for lube oil. So these two connections may either remain on the cylinder block, or they may come out with the cylinder head. So we have to remove these two connection pieces. So now once the head is out, we have to dismantle the wall spindles, and for that the manufacturer has provided a tool to compress the spring and remove the conical clamping pieces. So for that it's very simple. We have to use this tool provided by the manufacturer, and then by using this nut we can compress this spring, and once these springs are compressed, we can remove these conical pieces that are holding the spindle with the roto cap. So once this conical piece is out, then we have to loosen this nut again and remove the tool, and simply remove the wall spindle. Take out the spring and remove the wall spindle. But before taking out the wall spindle, we have to mark the position with respect to the head. That is important in case we are reusing these wall spindles, in case the condition is not that too bad or the condition is good. So before dismantling, we have to mark the position with respect to the cylinder head. Suppose this is we mark this wall as 1, so nearby only we will write punch 1 on the cylinder head, and if we suppose we mark this as 2, then nearby we can punch with number 2. So this is how we mark the original position with the original position of this spindle, wall spindle, with respect to cylinder head. Now after we have dismantled the cylinder head, we have to dip the cylinder head in carbon cleaning chemical water for overnight, and then we have to clean the head thoroughly. Now once head is cleaned, we have to check the condition of the wall seat. So if the wall seat is having too much pitting and wear down, then we have to take out the wall and insert the new one. But in case the wall condition is not too bad, wall seat condition is not too bad, then we can reuse by lapping. So in this we will see how we can take out the this wall seat. So for that there are two procedures. One is by using the welding technique. So in that we have to grind the old or scrapped wall spindle. Suppose this is the wall spindle, then we have to grind this sides of this wall spindle, scrapped wall spindle, and then weld this wall spindle onto the seat, wall seat, which we want to remove. And after welding we have to tap from this side so that the wall seat can come out with this wall spindle. So this is how the welding technique is used for removing the wall seat. Next is the next technique is by using the tool provided by the manufacturer. So that is also very simple. By using this nut we can fix this tool with the wall seat, and by using this nut B we can extract the wall seat. So these are the two procedures by which we can extract the wall seat very easily. So once the wall seat is out, we have to do the dye penetrant test on the wall pocket to test for any cracks. So once the dye penetrant test is done, as we know that these seats are having interference fit with the cylinder head pocket, so that is why this dye penetrant test is very important. But before that we have to thoroughly clean the pocket. Now we need to put the new wall seat in the pocket. So for that, this suction wall seat won't be having any O-ring, but the exhaust wall seat will have a O-ring. And as we know that this is these are having interference fit, so before putting back into the pocket we have to cool them down. So for cooling we can use liquid nitrogen, but as we all know that liquid nitrogen is most of the time it is not present on board ship, so we have to cool the wall seat by keeping them in meat room or fish room at -20°C overnight. So after we have kept the wall seat in meat room and fish room, we can put the wall seat back into the cylinder head pocket. For putting back into cylinder head pocket, manufacturer has provided a tool. So this is the tool. Simply put the wall seat onto the pocket and insert the tool and tap the tool from top, so that this wall seat will go easily into the pocket. Only the important point over here is the exhaust wall seat. Exhaust wall seat is having a O-ring. So if you cool the wall seat with the O-ring, so O-ring will get brittle and it will get damaged. So for that, cool the wall seat individually, and then while putting it into the pocket, at that time only put the O-ring and apply a little bit this lube oil or this copper slip, and then insert the wall seat into the pocket by using this tool. So that is the difference in the suction in the exhaust wall seat. So this is how we change the exhaust and the suction wall seat. But in case their condition is not that bad, so we can reuse them by lapping. Grinding is mostly not preferred. I'll just say lapping. So once the lapping is done, then we have to check the condition whether the whole seat area is mating with the wall spindle, and for that we have two techniques for checking it. One is by the Prussian blue compound. So apply the this blue compound onto the wall spindle, and then insert this wall spindle into the wall guide and rotate 1/3 by pressing slightly, and then take out this wall spindle and check the marks of this blue compound onto the wall seat. So if this is the wall seat, and after taking out wall spindle you find that only this area is having this blue compound, and this area is having blue compound, and these two areas are still not having any blue compound, then you need to lap more. This simply means that the wall seat and the wall spindle are not mating 100%. The other way of checking is if in case we are not having this blue compound. So in that case, if this is the wall seat, then we can simply use our pencil. So put marks like this on the wall seat, and then again put the wall spindle into the guide and rotate by 1/3 by pressing lightly, and then take out the wall spindle. So you will find that these marks are gone. So in case suppose this particular area marks are gone and this particular area marks are still there, pencil marks are still there, then you need to lap more, because this area is still not mating with the wall spindle. So this is how we check the condition of the wall seat in case we are going to reuse. So the next thing is the wall spindle. So for wall spindle we need to check the diameter at 3 points, this 1, 2 and 3 points, and we have to check with the manufacturer's limit. So for my generator the limit was, wear down limit was 0.08 to 0.161. In case this limit is crossing, or there are too much pitting marks on this wall spindle, then we have to change this wall. Just mind one thing, that even if you are putting new wall seat and the wall spindle, then in that case also you need to lap little bit with very fine grinding paste and lube oil, and check the lapping condition as I have explained before. Now we come on to wall guide. Friends, this wall guide is very important. If the condition of the wall guide or the o-ring which is inserted over here is not good, then you will lose lot of oil and the exhaust temperature of the cylinder head will be going very high of that particular unit, as the lube oil will be going into the cylinder head and burning with the fuel oil. So the condition of the wall spindle is very important. My suggestion would be to mostly change. So to check the condition of this wall spindle, we are provided with a tool that is called go no go tool. So if this tool is going inside this wall spindle, then in that case we have to definitely change this wall spindle. And if there are too much grooving inside this wall spindle, in that condition also we have to change the wall spindle. Sorry, not wall spindle, wall guide. So for changing the wall guide, manufacturer has provided a tool. So simply put the head upside down and then put the tool on the guide and tap with the hammer to take out the wall spindle. So once wall spindle is out, check the condition of the pocket for the wall spindle or the bore for the wall spindle in the cylinder head. Again this wall guide, so not wall spindle, wall guide. Again this wall guide is having interference fit with this cylinder head bore. So for that we have to keep this wall guide again in the meat room or fish room, so that we can put it easily into the cylinder head. So for putting, we simply put the guide onto the bore, and by using the same tool we can same tool we can put the guide into the bore of this cylinder head, but we have to put it from the top, not from the bottom of the cylinder head. While putting, we have to be careful. We should not damage the wall guide or the cylinder head while hammering. Now the next component is the wall spring or the spring. So in that we have to check the diameter and the length, and in case if it is crossing the limits as provided by the manufacturer, then we have to change the springs. Or if their condition is, or if there is any crack on the spring, then in that condition also we have to change the spring. Now we check the condition of the roto cap. Actually friends, this roto cap is very important. If this roto cap is not functioning properly, then in that case your wall, in that case the mating surface between the wall spindle and the wall guide will wear down very fast, or there will be too much pitting and wiring, this wear down on the wall seat. So their overall is very important. Their working mechanism, how this rotation take place, that is actually not the part of this video, that I will explain in some other video, but I have just put on this slide, so if you want you can read. In this video I'll just tell you how to overhaul these rotor caps. So for overall purpose, it's very simple. Just remove the stop ring. This is the stop ring. We can use the this circuit plier to easily remove this circlip. Then we have to remove the retainer and the disc spring. So this is the retainer. Once this stop ring is out, then this retainer and the disc spring can be removed very easily. Then we have to remove the steel ball and steel coil springs. This is the main body. So in my case, what I have done, I have changed all the balls and the springs. Mostly there will be 6 balls and 6 springs. So definitely change the balls and the springs when you are overhauling this rotocap, and definitely check this area of this body, rotocap's body. If there is too much grooving over there, then you have to change this body. So once you have changed the spring and the steel ball, then again put this disc spring and then this retainer, and then put the circlip. So this is how we overall rotocap. You can see the figure over here. What I have done, just place them side by side, and you can do overall very easily. This is not that tough. Other important point is, when you are putting them back, never use grease. Otherwise at high temperature this grease will stop the functioning of this rotocap. Now I'll tell you how to check the functioning of the rotocap. So this functioning can be checked only after you have boxed back the spindle guides or the box back the cylinder head. So once you have put back the wall seat, wall guide and the spindle, spring and the rotocap, and then you have tightened them by putting the conical clamp, then you can check the rotation function of this rotocap. So that's very simple. On the back side of the cylinder head, just mark as you can see on this figure, and then from the top of the wall spindle, if this is the spindle, then from top of this wall spindle just tap with the hammer or the mallet. Then you will see that this wall is rotating with respect to this marking. Okay, so in that case this rotocap is functioning properly. But in case the wall does not rotate as you can see from this mark, then in that case we have to change the rotocap or check the rotocap again. Friends, this is the most important thing in head decap. So after rotocap we come on to fuel wall bush. So fuel wall bush, actually there is a mating surface for the fuel injector and the bush over here. So first thing is to check this area, this area. If there is too much pitting or wear down on this area, then we can change the wall bush. But in case if the condition is not that bad, then we can use lapping by using fine grinding pair and the tool provided by the manufacturer. We can simply lap and reuse this bush. But in case the condition of the bush is bad, then in that case we have to change the bush, and for that we have to remove this bush. So for removing, mount the tool as you can see in this figure, these two figures, and simply hook the edge of this locking ring and extract the locking ring by this tool. Then from the backside of the cylinder head, press or knob the tool by means of soft hammer. This bush will come out. Then you can put the bush back, this fuel wall bush back into position by using the reverse procedure. So once everything is done, we have to pressure test this cylinder head hydraulically by using fresh water to the pressure 7 to 10 bar. So this is also very important, because if you have changed the wall seat, or if there is any crack in the cylinder head, then you will come to know by using this hydraulic pressure test. Suppose if you have inserted new exhaust wall seat, and as you know that it is having a o-ring, and that wall seat is cooled by the fresh water, cooling fresh water, and in case the o-ring is damaged, then if you will not check the condition of the o-ring by this hydraulic pressure test, then when you mount the head on the engine, then there will be leak. Exhaust gases will go onto the fresh water or this cooling water system. So for that we have to, before putting back onto the cylinder, putting back cylinder head on the engine, we have to hydraulically pressure test the cylinder head. And so for pressure testing, there are holes, as you can see over here on the periphery, full circumference of the cylinder head. So we have to plug those holes and clamp the Teflon plugs with the clamp ring that we have to actually make this tool in our workshop. And there is a small connecting piece over there also, we have to plug. The other areas where we need to blank is this area where we have removed these two pieces in axial direction. In that areas we have to blank. And over here, as you can see, there will be a plug, so we have to remove that plug and put the pressure gauge with a water connection at the top. Then we apply the water at 7 bar, and after 7 bar is reached, then we simply shut this valve and keep it for some time and check from down whether the valve seat which we have changed it is leaking or is intact, or check the whole cylinder whether it is leaking from anywhere. So hydraulic pressure test is very important of the cylinder head. So once the hydraulic pressure test is done, then thoroughly clean the cylinder head, clean the valve guide, seat ring, then put little bit lubricating oil inside the valve guide and put the new o-rings in the valve guide. Then clean the valve stem and check for location marks. As I told you, never, if you are reusing this valve spindle, then never change the position with respect to the cylinder head. Put in the original position. Then insert this valve spindle carefully into the valve guide and assemble the cylinder head. Put the spring and the rotor cap and put the mounting tool. Sorry, the picture is not here. Put the tool which we have used for removing the valve spindle, and put the, after tightening the nut, put the this conical clamping pieces and after this cylinder head is box back, do check the functioning of the rotor cap as I have told you in my previous slides. So functioning of this rotor cap is very important. So while boxing back, two things is important. Never forget to change the o-ring of the wall guide, and don't forget to check the rotation function of this rotor cap. So once this is done, then keep this cylinder head aside, and then we will move on to piston and the connecting rod, so that I am going to cover in my next video. So friends, till then, take care, have fun, and do tell me whether you have liked this video or not, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.